So AI, IoT, and 5G networks. Let's have your initial thoughts. Good afternoon once again. So with AI, IoT, 5G, and sustainability, right? So I think we have to look at from the point of why do we have them today? Because they've been built on the existence of what has been built earlier. So it's just like an upgrade in existing technologies. So if you look at the internet revolution, we've gone to the 1G, 2, 3 to 5. So why are we having 5 today? So sustainability. The internet, so the internet has grown over a period of time, as we heard yesterday, that is 25 years old now. And now we are looking at not connecting just phones and laptops and computers, but everything, including human heart. So we're looking at a future where everything else we can imagine can be connected to the internet. And that gave birth to IoT. So having IoT, then there'll be a need to also process the data. There's a need to process the data we collect, and that's where AI comes in. So AI comes to process the data we collect, and after processing it, you need a medium to transmit the data from one point to the other. And that's where the network comes in, the 5G. So 5G is like 120 times faster than 4G we have today. And that will help us process data faster and efficiently.
Yes, so we have AI, 5G, and looking at it in terms of sustainability and looking at how it helps us as a people to develop. And as we heard from yesterday and today, there has been an evolution in the entire telecommunication system, moving from the wired to the mobile. And this evolution will continue. I don't expect the 5G to be the end. When we got to the LTE, we said they thought that was going to be, and that is why they tried to refuse to call it 4G, the long-term evolution, that within that spectrum, there will be a lot of improvement within that. And then we had 5G. And so what we have to understand as a people is that technology is dictating the pace. And therefore, we have to position ourselves strategically to tap into the advantages that technology offers and make the best use of it to enhance our chances of moving along with the global economy. Else, we will lag behind. But the good thing for Africa is that most of us, or most countries in Africa, are leapfrogging within this space, and they don't need, or there's no need for them to have experienced earlier technology. And so somebody, for the first time using phone, start using 5G phone. Meanwhile, some of us started using landline and have gone through all the various stages and that. So it tells you that technology is moving at a pace that the new generation coming are going to be exposed to a level of technology that they have no idea where it started from, and all that they are interested in is that it gives me what I need, and therefore that is what I'm going for. But we have to position it in context that it's not just the technology, availability of the technology, but the technology meeting our needs. So if I will extrapolate, have we effectively exhausted the potential use of 4G as we are now talking about 5G? Are people here enjoying 4G as they are supposed to enjoy it? If you move around, you have a 4G service, and you are moving from here to, let's say, in Sawo. How sure are you that you will have a sustained 4G from here to Sawo? And that is what the telcos and the regulators should assure us. I monitor some of this. When you have 4G network, and if you look, you see that the mass, as you move around, will be going through edge, 2G. That means that from here to Sawo, you do not have a sustainable 4G network. In Accra, you are here, you get a 4G. Move around to a different location, you see that it drops, it goes to edge. And the sad thing here is that when GPRS came, it was the fastest for us at that time. Then edge came. It's like, wow, 3G came and 4G. And so when the thing dropped to edge and we are not able to do downloads and those things, then you ask, what is happening? The telco should be able to leverage on these technologies and give us good services so that we will also enjoy. Else you'll be having 5G, but you'll still not enjoy having the 5G services. And 5G is a different thing altogether. The kind of opportunity 5G offers in AI is going to boost the use of AI. Because AI relies on speed and ability to network and ability to send information at a rate that you hardly determine the latency in it. And so if I have to sit here and maybe use my thumbprint to connect to a device here, if I'm on the 5G network with the speed, as you said, 120 plus to 1,000 times, so I'm expecting that within that space, and we can have multiple logins, and we will not have the system slowing down. And this time we have a lot of systems that slows down. And a lot of people log on and it slows down. So within this information space, as a country, as people, as tech guys, we need to not just follow the technology, but look at the features, the functionalities, what even informed the advancement from 4G to 5G. If you understand this thing, then as a tech person, you will know the addition that has come into it and tap into it for your advantage.
Thank you very much. So he wants to stretch the conversation further to say that even the AI, even the 4G, we are not realizing the benefits of it. So he wants to tell us to check your excitement. But I still remember in the early days of GPRS, when it came, I was happy enough to be developing then. I was a budding developer. And I can tell you that I'm as excited now as I was then. When I remember one incident with my friend when we had just heard about GPRS and we went to the ministry's, I think it was teacher hall, and there was an open forum. We just saw GPRS and we were very fascinated. So we just went in and wanted to sit in that meeting for some time. And then first submission, second submission, we were like, but where's the GPRS? But that was the Ghana poverty reduction strategy seminar. But I still say that I'm excited then about the prospect of AI in this. Just to bring everyone of us on board. So the three parties of the AI, the 5G and IoT, is this that the IoTs were, as is mentioned, they are going connected. There are a lot of sensors available that we're able to connect to. And then the 5G is this promise of the network that will allow you to be able to have faster connectivity, low latency, and be able to have more throughput. So you can say, think of it like you can download maybe a 10 gig in 10 seconds or something. So they are complementary technologies. Having the 5G giving you the capability to be able to transmit large quantities of data in a very short time, and then having the AI and the sensors generate so much data, then the AI and ML will be able to have enough, and having computing power also becoming cheap means that you're able to process it, you're able to analyze it, and have more meaning out of the data that you are generating. And if you want to be able to have more meaning or be more predictive and to do AI, the more data that you have to train, the better your models that come out will be. Will go on be. So that's just the background of these three parties. We'll have your take on that, and then we will go on. Just your opening remarks. I see we are very excited to fire, and it's good. Let's go.
I just want to add to what my brother just said concerning the pace we move towards the current trend of network development. I think the main focus now should rather be making sure that underlying protocol in place. Talking of in terms of the fiber infrastructure that we have around, see that day in day out we have a lot of fiber cuts and all those stuff. So if we are moving at a very high speed, we want to like rub shoulders with the US and other places where they have already advanced in their kind of network infrastructure. We are not there yet. For now, the main focus for us to rather turn our energy towards is getting the infrastructure in place first. Then we can start moving towards the advanced kind of technologies that are coming in, talking of the 5G and all those stuff. And I think you also spoke about the LTE. We've not exhausted that. We even had some technology that we deployed for our network, and that was WiMAX. Now we have moved to LTE, and even most of the telecom companies have not deployed up to they are still at the early stages of that kind of technologies. So we are not actually there. We have to start at a gradual pace. Then we get the underlying infrastructure in place, and we can start talking of getting the advanced technologies. And I think to add another, in terms of help with regards to the 5G, and then it is start with a lot of issues, and there have been a lot of research that are being done on that, and I think some of the findings are that they are not healthy for our environment. So if Ghana will continue.
Already, my notes have been scattered, so I'm going to bring in here the chamber of telcos now. So I think you have to come in here and see if you can rescue the moderator, because it's AI so please if you can say it's AI for the 3 parties for sustainable development. And already I'm hearing from my panel members the conversation is like an independent conversation. So I'm hearing independence now and independence in the shortest possible time. So well, it's good idea. I just wanted to bring it in whether we should jump in there 5G now or wait for to realize the full benefit, because we all saw your maps. So yeah, so bring us in before we go and talk about the 5G.
Okay. Thank you for this unplanned invite, and I've been sitting at the back and I've been paying attention to the conversations. I think that what is missing for me is that majority of the people in here would like to understand what is AI, what is IoT, what is 5G, before we even enter into some of the commentaries. But just to touch base to your question. So the gentleman here said something I was interested in, and then I actually wanted to speak. So when he called me, I was so happy. You see, it's not a question of we not being ready. Before this panel, when I showed earlier on coverage, map data, showing where we are even as a country with regards to 4G, we just done about probably about 25, 30%, 35% deployment, about 35 to 40%, probably around that side of deployment. And it's not because we are not ready. It's just because we want spectrum. And today, as a business, even if I don't have 4G, I can refarm my existing 3G spectrum and provide 4G for the customer. So technically that can be done, but politically it's not allowed, because you are expected to buy spectrum. And how much is the spectrum selling? MTN bought a spectrum for $67.5 million. And that's approval for you to now do 4G. And most of the businesses are not able to acquire with that money, because the 3G and the 2G, the business owners are saying that we have not been able to milk the investment we made in the 2 and the 3G. So I've had engagements with the government policy people. We've explained extensively that keeping the spectrum and wanting to sell at a huge bargain, it doesn't do the country
it doesn't do the country any favor, it doesn't do the industry any favor, because you can actually then say, look, let me give it to you let's talk, how much do you want to pay? Take it. And then probably over a period of 5 years, do this kind of rollout, consider these areas to invest into and stuff like that. So now back to your question on the 5G. If we even wanted to give the spectrum, people are ready to deploy. The technology is there. So it's a question of what is there right now. So typically, I'm sure somebody sitting in this thing will be wondering, what is this 5G? So pretty much what you see on your phone is experience. And I heard Kofi Annan talking about the fact that sometimes the experience deals from, that's a technical conversation. It's not really the norm, but that's a technical conversation. But if you have 4G today, what you do with 4G, you could do with 5G probably 10 times. So if I download a movie on my 3G network and it takes maybe about 45 minutes, I can do that with the 5G network for like 2 minutes and I'll get my movie. So more faster speeds, more better efficiency that we would see from the customer endpoint. And then also there's about, if you read about around the 5G business, there's about close to 3 billion or 3 million jobs to be created on the back of 5G. So the countries that have taken the leap, and that's why you see America fighting with China, they've added it to the trade war, but we all know that everybody wants to be a lead, because once you play a lead, you can tap into the early gains of the technology. And I believe that's where the conversation is. If you want to steer the conversation or we're steering these technologies, how does Ghana become a lead player, even for Africa, on the continent? And that's why I believe that we can actually focus on today. If you have 4G networks, you can actually, even on your 4G, just do for some, there's a new type of technology now called mmWave, that you can actually just run over your existing 4G network, and you can provide 5G. And Internet of Things is pretty much the easiest areas that we can tap into as a continent and commercialize. Internet of Things, I know somebody might be wondering, what is also Internet of Things? So, let me just give you he works in the field, but I can give you just a practical example. So, we are entering into an era where every single thing will talk to the internet or will talk over a network. So, you have, you fix, let's say, actuators or chips or SIM cards into, let's say, your light bulb or your house wiring system. And before you get home, a typical practical example which we see around that we don't even take it serious is webcams. I can see what's happening in my office from my phone right now. So that's a typical example of what Internet of Things will do. So before I get home, probably I could actually turn on the air conditioner, I could turn on the lights before I even come. So if I'm not home, you might actually probably think that somebody's in the house because there's already activity running in the house and stuff like that. So that's the beauty of what we're seeing. And in countries where there's so many use cases. Today in countries like Italy, before the dustbin gets full, or by the time the dustbin is full, it's notifying something similar to their Zoom Lion that I am full, come and pick me. So it's not a system where, let's say, every week we'll come on Thursday at 5:30 a.m. When they come, whether it's full or it's not full, they come and pass and they go. That's not efficiency. So that's a kind of efficiency that we will see. And then also the issue around privacy, which is also driving that conversation. And everybody is saying that China, Huawei would basically be able to look into. So, I was talking about appliances, and then I know you want to cut it, but let me just do this. A couple of decades back, I think China divided itself into like a third of China was given out for industrialization, if you do some back history. And you realize that that's where all these LG, Sony, all these things were coming from. So these things have been pushed into the market now. Now, today, the 5 leading phones in the world right now, as at March 2019, number 1, Samsung. Number 2, Apple. Number 3, Huawei. Sorry, in fact, Samsung, Huawei, Apple is number 3. And then you have Oppo, OPPO. You can Google it, OPPO. And then I think number 5 is Xiaomi, or they call Xiaomi or something. Xiaomi and then others. Now these 5 phones, all of them are made in Asia. 4 is made in China. One, that's the Samsung, is made in South Korea. Apple has a 200,000 manufacturing plant in China. So usually when you look behind your iPhone, all you see is you see designed in California, assembled in China. So we have a 200,000 manufacturing plant. Now that's where the concerns are coming from. All the devices are coming from there. So if today we go 5G, it will require a lot more data to move across appliances, to move across mobile phones, and that's where everybody wants to be the lead super. In fact, America will do the same thing China, they think China will do. Everybody just wants to get ahead of the curve. So instead of the conversation for us as Africa, in summary, all I'm thinking is, as a country, we should have a plan. And in having a plan, I believe one of the key things we can look at, I said earlier on, is IoT is a key area that we as country can look at and become a lead even on the market, so that we are not really fighting to say we have 5G in Ghana, but we are actually running the commercial parts of the technology in our market for our people. That's my contribution.
Okay, so thank you very much. It's very well. There was a professor here yesterday, so I can safely claim to be a student, and that, for that matter, I can go back to my Aluta days and throw it back to the audience. The debate still goes on. Is it 5G now or 5G in the shortest possible time? Let's the debate continue. Let's get your contribution from there, because as you said, thank you very much, sir. You want to ask a question for him? Okay, so let me just finish. So as the debate goes on, I think that a lot of it is whether it's in the shortest possible time or it's now. It has to be our policy. We will come back now that it's possible, it's within our reach. Just one comment on 5G now, 5G in the shortest possible time. Then we'll go on to see what examples are already.
Thank you. Great discussion. My name is Bernard Walker. I'm from the States, been in Ghana about 4 years, worked at HP for 10 years. I just want to ask a slightly different question. Because this is the young people workforce. What should they be learning, right? So that they can build the apps for 5G, IoT, artificial intelligence, and not just be takers of technologies, but creators. Because I was in a session where a professor dealing with intercropping was saying, we intercrop this and wrote copies, and the market is there. The market is there. And I had to say, no, the market may be there, but if you're not ready, you can't participate in it. So the 5G, you're saying that the local businesses have difficulty uptaking 2G and 3G, right? So you have to build the roads, just like you have potholes physically in the streets. You have potholes in the internet, IoT for Africa. And this is where these guys need to be playing. They need to fill those potholes, because in the potholes, there's gold.
Thank you so much. Mine has to do with the sustainability. I think we should be talking about availability of the 5G and affordability as well. Because if we do not have it, and I don't see how we will play with it. So it should be within the system first, then the structures will also come in. Thank you.
Okay, so hold on to your questions. I'll bring our panel in. So I'm hearing so he's saying that the one aspect of the sustainability that we should talk about is affordability and the cost. Okay, so we'll come to that. And he also wants to say that we don't only want to be partakers, whether it's 5G now, 5G later. At the end of the day, it's going to be realized in products and services. Where do we as a country decide to participate? Please hold on to that question. Very important, we'll come there, because even in terms of participation, yesterday we heard Professor Kofi saying that he's able to, they were part of the people that went to China to go and teach them microcontroller processing. And he also showed us examples of the boards, the chips that you have. So even in participating, we will need to decide where we want to start participating in terms of, do we want to start going into the microcontroller and Raspberry Pi chips, which is possible. Is that what we want to start participating in? Or we want to start participating from the application and services point of view, which would translate into the software development and the programming, and that will translate to his question in terms of what should you learn in school to be able to participate in. The bottom line is that whatever we choose to do, we should, we heard yesterday that we should end up being part of the suppliers. So whether you're going to stay in the hardware side or in the software side, we should be participating in this. But before we get that, it's very exciting. What are these technologies we've understood? What are some of the already existing IoTs and smart solutions that we have in the country that you can start off? Then we can come up to those questions of cost and then where we want to play.
So IoT is basically deploying sensors around to collect data, and this data will communicate to your cloud server, where we have AI or machine learning algorithm processing these millions of data into analytics and predictions. So, for instance, we know of driverless car and drones. With sensors installed in these driverless cars and drones, it's able to communicate back to your central server, and then with that, you're able to control it. Over the past 2 years, we've been trying to experiment some of these technologies, and through the process, we've been able to build something that we always showcase at a meetup. So, with regards to the blockchain, I think first we need to experiment a lot, because IoT, I don't think is new. It's a collection of all these text coming together to build solutions to address particular problem. So when you're building IoT products, you need an engineer, which we already had this like years ago. You need a programmer, you need a networking guy. You also need a specific field guy. So if you're building IoT for agri, you need a farmer. So it's not for only tech people, it's for everybody. The beauty of this IoT solutions or IoT product is they have the capacity to do a lot. So for instance, what we have over there, the light bulb, it's a system we built that can actually control everything in the home. So with your phone, you should be able to control your light, appliances, and anything. Aside that, it collects data on your consumption. So you can know how much you consume for ironing for 1 hour, how much of it consume in a day, in a week, in a month. And all this data that we collect with machine learning, we make predictions. We could predict the lifespan of your bulb, your fan, any appliance you have in the home. We could also predict emergency. We have a smart home system here with a smart smoke sensor. This sensor combines collection of LPG gas, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide, together with temperature and humidity. So with this data collection, we can use machine learning algorithm to predict whether it's your gas that's leaking, whether it's fire, whether it's food that's been, whatever is happening in the house. We could do that. And this thing doesn't cost much to build. It doesn't cost different skills and knowledge to also build. We already have it. What we don't have is an ecosystem of bringing all these people together to build these products to solve particular solutions. So I don't know if that answered the question. We also have one on the smart bin. He made mention of having a trash can that can communicate back to the collectors. So we've experimented on that to be able to build a solution to monitor the level of your bin once you're dropping it, and whenever it's full, it sends a location to the collectors. So me, I don't think IoT is so strange. Maybe 5G could be a little bit strange, but IoT, AI, not much strange that we can't do something or apply them to solve our basic problems around. Another way we can apply some of these things is our Telco. We've hired people to be collecting tickets or giving tickets for cash. This thing can be automated with sensors, and payment can be automated. And this makes life easier. In agriculture, we can deploy IoT sensors in the farm to monitor soil nutrients, efficiency, moisture content in the soil, and this helps farmers to know when to irrigate, when to fertilize, the amount of, or the quantity of pesticide to apply, and all these things. Because we don't have that, that's why we do guesswork in our farming, And that's more reason why we've been banned from vegetable exports. But we have so much chemicals in our vegetables we produce. We are not able to determine the quantity of pesticide we apply or chemicals we apply to our crops. In that matter, we don't know the side effect of that action that we take. When it comes to irrigation, a farmer will just irrigate the whole farm, irrespective of whether a plant needs water or not, they still irrigate. A farmer will also apply fertilization and pest the same way. So if we can have precision farming with IoT sensors, which we can do here in Ghana, then we can solve most of the challenges we're facing here.
All right, so examples of already deployed IoT or AI solutions that we have.
Yeah, we have examples around, but because we do not have a national database of these information systems, you may only talk about the few that you have heard in one or two places. And the IaaS is talking about it's not anything strange to people into IT things in terms of Internet of Things. And I think I heard recently NADMO deployed something like that to enable them know when it's going to rain and those kind of things. These are all IoT things and Internet of Things that some of these institutions. And you see, we must be able to. We're talking about the technology itself, it's not a critical, but it's about how we are going to apply it to meet our various local needs. Okay, and before you can be able to do that, you need to understand why that technology is coming into the system. Okay, if those who understand the evolution very well, you know that from 1G, there was something that informed them before they brought 2G. So if I'm using 1G phone and I move to 2G, and I know that this is the reason why they have come out with 2G, I will take advantage of that purpose. Because some of us are having 4G phone, we are still using it as if it is 1G phone. Because we do not understand what informed the evolution. And that is what we need to understand. For voice, it was okay at 2G level. From 3G going, it was not voice we are looking at. We are looking at data. Now we came to data, we are satisfied with data, but now we are moving at speed. And that is why 5G is focusing on speed. 5G is focusing on speed. And so if 5G is coming with speed, then I must enjoy that aspect of it in everything that we do as a people in deploying technology. And again, within that spectrum, you must know the component that operates there. And then you position yourself to tap into it. When we talk about this system, what are the components operating there? We have the mobile hardware, we have the mobile software, and we have the mobile network. Which of these are you tapping into? So strategically, you have to know that. If it is the mobile network, I'm going to tap into it. Then you look at all the things that goes into it. What is it that I have to do to be able to effectively and take advantage of the 5G? If I'm going to the mobile software aspect, of which most of us find ourselves in, how am I going to leverage on these technologies to develop systems that will leverage on them to be able to give service? If I'm looking at the mobile hardware, which hardware will I be able to do to tap into it? So these are areas that we need to know and understand. The moment you are sure where you want to operate from, like you were saying, then you go into it and ensure that you do everything that you have to do to get the maximum benefit that you need to get from this system. Again, it has to do with the people. Technology does not exist on its own. It is the people who use the technology. And here in Ghana, when it comes to adoption of technology, the individuals are ready to adopt when it is a personal system. Your mobile phone, apps, you are able to buy. When it is a national system, the adoption becomes a problem. And in view of that, it frustrates government agencies and other institutions in implementing some of these technologies in areas that will help us to enjoy them. So maybe government is deploying a system that is running on 5G. Are the people ready to use that technology? So it is not just about the technology. We must look at it holistically and let the people appreciate the need to use the technology. When that appreciation is there, when you begin to deploy it, you get maximum benefit. Else, we have a lot of systems being deployed around that is not being used. And that is some of the things that we need to look at.
So, so you say context, and let's determine whether we are ready to build. It's why I'm sitting. I cannot pass things like that. I think that we are ready. But AI, ML is technology. All this. All of us have seen AI, right? It looks like a duck. I've given the answer away. It looks like a duck. It has feathers, quacks like a duck. It must be what? That is AI. And that is essentially, it looks funny, but that's what AI is. So it comes from the place of imagine machine learning. Machine learning is just saying that even our mothers are doing it. They look at you and say, this guy, don't work with him. Why is he again saying don't work with him? Because the guy is truant. Why is he truant? Your grandmother is applying his machine learning because he has gathered a lot of data about the guy that the people who have these character traits, if you work with them, they have the tendency to. So she's making this thing. It grows from, say, from the statistical service. You have the data and they describe the data. It's called descriptive statistics. So this is what has happened. Okay, and then anytime this happens, anytime X happens, Y also happens, and because anytime X happens, Y happens. If you have sufficient amount of occurrence, you can say that X is happening, definitely there will be Y happening. So that takes you from what we call descriptive realm or the machine learning. You have learned it, and you go into what we call the predictive learning. Okay, that's the evolution of the AI. So that we came up with. So the fact, because he knows that over a long period of time, we know that each time we can hear the siren and we see a motorcade, we see a motorcade with the police, more than 8 police, and we see a Mercedes-Benz with a crown, will be either the president or the vice president. We can easily see it. Now, you're able to describe it descriptively, and you're able to predict based on occurrence. That's predictive statistics, okay? And machine learning. Now, AI takes it further and says that, and goes into what we call the prescriptive. The prescriptive is that because we know that each time X happens, Y happens. Now that X has happened, we can predict that Y is happening. And so if Y is going to happen, then what? So that's where the application of your artificial intelligence comes in. And you can see it is intelligence because it means that it has some ability of reasoning. And based on the data that it has already learned, it's able to make prediction on its own. Okay? So because when you mentioned the AI in the terms of the farmer being able to apply the fertilizer or not apply the fertilizer, as it rains, the app will tell him that, okay, it's going to rain, so therefore, do not apply the fertilizer. At that stage, he's making the artificial intelligence in itself. But in the future, when these applications become built, he will just pick up, he may well pick up the application that will tell him that, okay, the weather, these are the weather conditions, so don't apply fertilizer, but apply fertilizer tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, the application that's telling you, the AI application that will tell you, apply the fertilizer at 8 a.m. today, is taking into fact all these factors that the indicators, the sensors are saying that it's going to rain. Now, the intelligence that when it rains and you apply the fertilizer, will get washed out. So the application then will tell you, okay, apply the fertilizer tomorrow at 8. That is where the AI is coming, but it's captured in those things. Now, In terms of sustainability, you come in and then we'll take it together. How can these technologies enable sustainable development in our digital economies? Okay.
Talking of IoT, I think some of the utility companies, let's say the power companies, use that kind of technology to monitor their power network. They also use to monitor like their billing services for their customers and monitor their transformers and other components of the network. But the only big problem, the bottleneck is that a lot of data is being collected. So that means that you need a very big backhauling services to be done. So if you have a very limited capacity, you wouldn't be able to collect the required data that is needed. And that is when you can talk of the 5G. But with the 5G solution, you have to still expand your network capacity. Otherwise, you'll be posing a scenario of a bottleneck situation where you have a capacity, but you can't do the transmissions. So looking at going 5G, we still have a lot of work to be done in terms of expanding our network capacities. And we have to bear in mind that Ghana is not only Accra. Ghana is the whole country, all the 16 regions. So we're talking of all this advanced technology. First of all, what we have to focus on is getting the right infrastructure in place. Otherwise, you'll just be doing a cost-90 job. You have a technology in place, but you wouldn't have the capacity to do your transmission. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, so thank you very much. We'll take in just your closing remarks, but to answer the two questions on the floor in terms of cost, our gentleman from Chamber of Commerce has gone to sit down, but the one person has raised the issue of sustainability from the angle of cost. If we're going to have the AI, does it mean that we understand that it's going to be faster, it's going to be better, but you know that these things also goes in three. It has to be faster, cheaper, and better. Is it going to cost less, or is it going to cost more? As far as the consumer is concerned, his concern is that from a consumer's perspective, if you have these things, he mentioned bottleneck. The bottleneck is going to come from when there's no enough uptake of the services, when there's no appetite for the services that be consumed on these fast networks and IoT. And if it's going to cost more for the consumer is not going to. There will be more demand, and there will be more money for the investors to recoup and to expand. So I'll have your closing remarks. I'm basing just when the conversation is beginning to but let's keep the conversation going. I don't know if you have any conversation from the online community. Hello, Mr. Online. Do we have any questions from the community? Everything from the community. So there's no question from the community. So I would want you to answer in your closing remarks and also for your closing remarks the question of what are the skill sets, what skill sets are needed for us to participate meaningfully in this ecosystem, in this new paradise that is being promised of the AI, IoT, and the 5G network.
So IoT commercialization is just like 5 years old now, and it's worth over $11 trillion. And this is the beginning. So that means there's potential. Now, if you look at all the tech companies that are coming out, Apple is doing Apple Car, Apple Homes, Google Homes, everybody's doing IoT. That means the future is heading towards IoT. But then when it comes to our ecosystem, the challenges I have realized is adoption. So we need to build ecosystems or communities that can experiment on these technologies. But before we can build products, we need to do experimentation. And these things are new. If we want a way to get all the infrastructure, all the resources available, we'll be left behind again. So it's better, I think we should start experimenting. That's what I do with my community. All this product that we built is through experimentation, trying to understand this technology and how we can apply it to solve our problem. The next jobs that are coming, as we keep saying, the robots are coming. These are the robots. Because if you have a smart home, you only need a nanny, you only need a security guy, and all those jobs are going to be displaced. So these are the robots that are coming, and we have to build the robots. If you don't build it, we'll have to import it. And when we import them too, they'll take away all our jobs. So as a community leader, that's what I do with my team. We try to apply this solution. Everything here was built in Ghana from scratch. Both the circuit board, the casing, we printed with 3D printers, and we have all this stuff. But I think we need more organizations who are also in the tech space or who are looking into the future of digital jobs to come together so that we can work to expand the ecosystem. But as you say, if Ghana can leapfrog, we can leapfrog Africa. I've been to Kenya last year and there's not much happening as far as IoT is concerned, and even any of the African countries. So Ghana, we are fortunate to be leading this for the past 2 years, but we need to grow it bigger. We need to build a culture around it. So that's what I have to say. So with my phone, I can control the bulb over there from wherever I am. Even if I travel outside Ghana, I can still control my home. It's not just, that's not just light bulb. We can control any appliances you connect to the device. Currently, we have a home which has been fully automated in Tema that we are doing documentary on it. When it's out, we will release it. Anybody who is interested in this space or the future, I call the revolution, you can join our community, then we can explore how we can also turn this into businesses and sell them. But we have a passion to solve problems. We need business people like Telco to also build some basic infrastructures for us before we can deploy some of this in our home. The business model behind IoT is not a device. So the time will come, all this will be free. The business model is the data. So data is a new oil. So we have to capitalize on how we can produce more of this for people to use, collect our own data, and then sell to whichever other business we can build around it. So that's my closing remark. Thank you.
So data is the new oil, and if we believe it, we should get behind it. You have the mic, so you can also conclude for us.
Yes, I will take it from a different angle, not to be repeating some of the things we've heard earlier. I would like to say that yes, of course, the way is Internet of Things, and that is the trend, and as a country, we must also be able to follow that trend by ensuring that we have the necessary capacity in terms of the tech companies to be able to tap into the opportunities that these AI and IoTs offer. But let me be a little bit liberal here. I don't want the tech companies and the guys here to be too excited so that they become disappointed when things don't go the way they anticipate. I have been in this position before, and those times, Spacephone Areba, when we started with vehicle tracking, somewhere in 2014. At that time, Farouk gave us the APN because what he said at that time was that the Spacephone is not interested in vehicle tracking. And so they linked us to their friends who are interested in vehicle tracking and other companies in China, Ecoband. And that time, I want to give you a scenario. Now, we were in Ecoband at Ghana Multimedia Center at that time. And those of you who know all those people at the tech guys, I hope you know what has happened to most of them from that time. I think if you go there, you see where I attend some few people. You see, the terrain is not all that friendly for the tech people, but you need to be on your guard and stand firm. Now, at that time, 2004, 5, 6, vehicle tracking is like we were ahead of the country in terms of technology. If you all bear with me, it is recently that vehicle tracking has become common. So we at that time, we were far advanced. The country was not ready for that.
So in fact, not critical.
And in fact, what I'm trying to say is that we the tech people who may be far ahead of of the people. And so we need to tone down so that when you develop your thing, they are not buying, you don't become discouraged. And it's going, yes. So we need to understand the people. And as I said earlier, we also mentioned adoption is the key. If the people do not have that edge on to adopt, whatever you are doing will not end anywhere. So the two must be in tandem. They must go in tandem. The people's readiness to adopt and your skill to develop. So bear these two in mind, not just the technology, but bear the people in mind. Thank you.
So he says very cautiously, but it's still a debate. Let the debate continue. Yesterday we also had the other school of thought that says that we must innovation must fail and fail fast. And if you allow me, I'll say we must fail big time and learn and to grow. But let the conversation continue. I'm just bringing the other side of the coin as we bring this to a close. I'll take care.
I think the best approach to adapt for now for us is to lay a very good foundation, because all those things goes with reliable network and then it is high speed network. If you don't have the right foundation, you end up building a white elephant solution. Thank you.
Thank you. So those are the closing remarks. We forgot to take any closing remarks from the audience. If there are any, then we'll bring this to a close. I also hesitate to add that the era of, and all these things they are saying is true, but the era of build they will buy is long gone. Okay, so yes, you must be cautious, but now we don't develop things for people to come and buy. We develop out of an identified need. And before you even go further, you have to find time to validate that need to make sure that the market is ready for whatever it is that you are going to, innovation you are willing to bring on board. There's a question about what would be the best policy framework for us to finish. We didn't finish. So I think we'll continue with the conversation after this. Let's continue, and then thank you very much to my audience. To my panelists too. Thank you very much.